Uh-oh. Hello out there. Not bad. I thought my voice was going to be a little bit worse than that today. We're on the air. I don't know if we're on Zap.stream though, because I ran out of sats yesterday and I just tried topping it up, but I'm not sure if it worked. It appears, yep, we're live. We're good. All right. Bear with me here for like a minute. We had, I feel like I say this almost every day now, but I guess that's what happens in the summer. But anyways, we had our league playoffs last night in golf, and one of the guys decided that he was going to get a hole in one. What a dummy! So, anyways, we had a bit of a late night. I think I got to bed around 1:30. Slept in a little bit today. So I'm going to be changing this episode. This might have inspired a new segment here on the show, a new day. I think I want to do Fridays no agenda, inspired by the podfather himself, Adam Curry. I think I like that idea. We were doing Q&A for a while, and then we switched it to Wednesdays, and I was actually going to stop streaming on Fridays for the summer, but I don't know. I just kind of felt bad. I almost just missed it today, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We're just going to do it. And even if it sucks, I shouldn't say it's going to suck, but even if we run out of things to talk about, we still have to show up. So this one officially is going to be called No Agenda Fridays, episode 1. That's our Zap stream title. And I'll update this YouTube one later on. We're going to do a Fad Zap Friday today, too. We're going to try to set a record for Zaps today on Zap.stream. So shout out to everybody over on Zap.stream. Let's try to do it. I think we can do it. We're on borrowed time today. So we got Cold Deck over there. We got Letha as well. Good morning. We got a good crew over in Zap.stream by the looks of it. All right. So this is episode 1. It's actually about episode 150 some, I think. We've been doing it. We've been here. It is August, and we started this last November. So maybe we'll have to do something special for our 1-year anniversary on the show. But almost every single day, weekday, we've been doing a show. So shout out to us. We're here. Shout out to Timber Crasher. We got our Bitcoin journeyman in the house. We got HFLM, Alpha X Omega, top of the morning, you sexy Bitcoiners. I'm going to leave that up for a while. That's a good start to the show. Zap.stream is buzzing. We got RJ over there. We got Sunshine. 420 sats. If nobody knows what I'm talking about there, I probably sound like an absolute imbecile. But remember the Titans. Sunshine. I forget if he's their backup quarterback. I think his name's Rev, the Reverend. They call him Sunshine. I think. No. He says it. Sunshine's the guy from California that shows up later. I think he's a QB too. Anyways, remember the Titans, probably my favorite movie of all time. So I should know the plot or the plot a little bit better than I do, but that's okay. I'm not one of those guys who like memorizes movie lines and plots and stuff. I just like good storylines and funny movies, although we haven't really seen a funny movie for a while. Probably not since Superbad, 2008, maybe 2006. Tim Light, that's a new face in the chat. We'll entertain this one. Good day. What's your story into discovering Bitcoin, and when did you start stacking sats? Every time I do like a little poll or something on NOSTR, everybody calls me a spook, a fed, trying to get me to provide information to them. But people are just way too paranoid in Bitcoin, so I don't mind sharing my story. I got into Bitcoin around 2019. Right before COVID, actually. One of my friends texted me about it. I think the price of Bitcoin was about $10,000. I bought like a small amount of it, but I wasn't like, it wasn't anything serious. I just kind of wanted to play around with it. And then I started diving a little bit deeper. I was watching some YouTube channels to figure out how to do it. And then I came across a couple classic, a couple altcoins, couple crypto. They just suck you in. They suck you in. They got their fancy thumbnails. They got their big promises, their big projections. And I think when you're first getting into it, you look at Bitcoin, it's like $10,000. And then you look at the altcoin and it's like 5 cents or 6 cents. And you're like, okay, well, I can't afford to buy. I'm not going to buy $10,000 worth of Bitcoin just like first day on the job here. So you know what? I'll throw $100 into this one. And then I'll throw $100 into this one because this guy said it was going to be, has all the potential to be the next Bitcoin. And then it goes up and then it triples. And then you're like, okay, well, it doesn't really make sense for me to be holding a fucking Microsoft share right now. So I'm going to cash out some of my shares and buy some more of this Dogecoin. Actually, Dogecoin worked out very well for me. So I shouldn't really bash the altcoins too much. But that was my path. I probably spent the first year in a couple different cryptocurrencies, really diving into it. Like, honestly, I mean, I watch a lot of Bitcoin stuff now, but I watched a lot of crypto stuff back then. Like I was trying to find anything I could learn about these different coins. And it actually made a lot of sense to me. So I definitely understand how people get sucked into that game. You see a couple quick gains, and then you got people on YouTube telling you that you're the smartest guy ever. And then and during this time, I really thought that Bitcoin was a bad thing. I thought it was bad for the environment. I had no idea what money was at that time, even after going through 6.5 years of school and 10 years in the world of money. I had no idea what money was at this time when I first got into it. But then I forget even how it was actually a show. It was a 2-hour show interview with Bitcoin Ben and X22 Report. And Ben wasn't talking about anything other than history and how the Federal Reserve was created, why it was created. Talked about the gold, which we're actually going to be talking about today as part of my no agenda. Talked about the gold, talked about going off the gold, talking about how much our lives have depreciated, how much society has depreciated since then. And I was like, okay, well, it makes sense. I'm going to take a look into this Bitcoin thing. It was very cheap at the time too. I think it was like $10,000. So I got a little bit, but not nearly enough. Not nearly enough because I was still holding the majority of it in cryptos. And at the time, everything was kind of going up. So I was like, well, I'll leave it in and see what happens. So I guess that's the story. 2019, played around with altcoins first. And it was actually not a Bitcoin video. It was a video about history and monetary history. And he was talking about the Titanic and how the bankers or the politicians or both, whoever was opposed to the Federal Reserve. When did the Titanic go down? 1911, I think, 1912. And then, so the Titanic wasn't an accident at all. And I don't know if this is your first time hearing this. They like to glamorize it and put it in a 3-hour Hollywood film with fucking Leonardo DiCaprio. But the Titanic was not an accident. The people on that boat were opposed to the Federal Reserve. And once the Titanic went down and they all died, the next year, Federal Reserve created 1913. So, you hear stuff like that and your whole life gets flipped on its head. And you're like, what? Everything. Then you start going a little further down a couple other rabbit holes. And you come to the realization that everything I've been taught in life was a lie. And I think that, that's where things start. And then now I pretty much approach everything like that in my life. I'm like, okay, well, sunglasses. I've been told this is good for me, but are they? And that all stemmed from questioning our monetary system and Bitcoin, and then this rabbit hole and this, and then it leads to, energy and inflation. Even, 4 years ago, nobody was talking about inflation. Nobody was talking about fiat money. Nobody had a clue what any of these things were. So just to put it into perspective of how far we've actually come in the last 4 years as a species, it's crazy. Before I had the boating accident, yes. Actually, before Arnie ate my private keys. Matt, good morning. Are there any free alternatives to TradingView that you could recommend? I don't know what TradingView is. If you're looking for advice on trading stocks and altcoins and Bitcoin and charts, this is not the show for you. The only trade we do is trading fiat for sats. Trademark. All right, we got Letha over in Zap.stream too. No agenda, fat zaps, sats Friday. 2.1 thousand sats. Thank you, Letha. Cold deck with an E. Zap 420 sats. Sats for fat. Good stuff here. Plunger, good morning. Zap 200 sats. Thank you. And Cold Deck says, I woke up when I read The Creature from Jekyll Island. Yeah, I honestly think that's when most people really understand the value of Bitcoin, when they see how broken our monetary system is. And it starts as like a possible replacement for it. And then it leads to your whole life being flipped upside down. So Tim says, I was buying alts in 2017 run and got wrecked and became a maxi in 2018. There you go. I think everybody has to go through that. And if you didn't go through that, first of all, be thankful, be grateful, but also keep your guard up, because, you could be scrolling YouTube one day, you could be on your way to watch the Bitcoin journey, and then you see this flashy thumbnail, good looking guy or girl talking about how to 200x your stack in 30 days. You click it, and it could happen. If you haven't been burned before, I think you're a lot more susceptible to falling for that kind of stuff. So just keep your guard up. If you're somebody watching the show today who started with Bitcoin, first of all, like I said, props to you, but keep your head up, keep your head on a swivel. Pulling weeds. Look at this, BTC backpacker pulling weeds for sats today. Not the worst way to spend a Friday, honestly. Daddy O, good morning. Jason, good morning. And Tommy D, good morning. Good to see you. And we got Noah over in the Zap.stream chat today. Hello, Noah. It's great to see you. All right, so where do we start for our No Agenda Fridays? It's the first one ever, so this is it's a trial run. Might be the first and last. But let's kick things off like we usually do. Check out the mempool, see what's going on. It's going to be a very laid back show today. Did I post on NOSTR? No. I had it all loaded up and everything. But we just got good news for us. We just got to press post. There we go. All right. So I actually texted Matt today from Solo Satoshi, and I haven't heard back yet. I was asking him about the bidax. How do we know if we hit a block, when we hit a block, and who has to design the template for us when we hit a block? Haven't heard back. Maybe he blocked my number. I wouldn't blame him. Just kidding. I have enough stuff going on. I don't need to be going out of my way to fire up new combos. All right. Block height. We've passed into the 857s. So shout out to the 857 crew out there, whatever area code that is. I have no idea, even if it exists or not. But 857039. And if you're transacting on the Bitcoin with layer 1 today, first of all, you're fortunate. There's 99% of people probably won't ever send a transaction on Bitcoin layer 1. But if you are, 5 sats per byte. Pretty good price. Down or up from 3, 4. And we got Foundry, we got F2 pool, and we got the Ant pool. All the big, holy Foundry and F2 just cleaning up, and Ant pool. It's hard to look at that. So So we're not going to do that. What else do we want to look at here this morning? Maybe we'll just call the show. I can go back to bed. Daniel zapped 1,000 sats this morning. Okay, well, we're actually on pace right now to set a record over on zap.stream. I don't know what the record is, but I feel like it's probably about 10, 15,000 sats. RJ says, thumbnails with somebody looking shocked with an open mouth and pointing to a chart are pretty reliable red flags for the crypto world. Yes. That is, that's a great call. So if you ever see anybody with an open mouth, that's why I've had to actually, believe this or not, I don't really care, but I've actually had several people reach out to me looking just to help me out with the show for free too, which is wild to me. That's just Bitcoin in a nutshell. But people have been reaching out. They want to help me with the show, the production of the show. And they all kind of recommend getting different thumbnails, which I understand. Because if I look through my YouTube, there's not a whole lot of people who don't have like AI generated thumbnails or like, a draw to people's eyes. But I don't know. I just kind of like the vibe, I guess you'd say, of just my landscape, the picture that I use every day for the show. Saves me time. I think it fits the vibe with this show because we're really not here to, we're not attracting the people who want fast things. So I don't know. Who knows? Not me. Morning, Matt. Morning, Nate. 857 is Boston. So shout out to Boston. And we got Fine Times. That's a new face. Do you know about Wiser app teaching about Bitcoin? Yeah, I've actually been talking to the people from Wiser. Yeah, is it Yiser, Wiser? Who knows? Wiser is a really good whiskey here in Canada. I believe it's in the US too, Wiser's. But I've heard about it. I think that probably good. There's a lot of good reviews on it. There's a lot of people who have used it in the past. I don't know exactly the whole purpose of it other than just to, learn a little bit more about the technical side of Bitcoin, I think. But honestly, for people who are starting in Bitcoin, for people who are just either on the verge of getting into it or new to it, I honestly think the best thing that you can do is just like learn history, learn our monetary history, look at money, look at, even geopolitics stuff and how money has corrupted society for so long. And what happened in 1971 when we went off the gold standard. I think that's the best place to start. And then you just kind of figure it out. You're going to learn by doing. I think that's the case with everything in life. But, it's good that there are things like that. Wiser, I'm sure that in the next little while, we'll have like college courses teaching Bitcoin. I was supposed to teach a course last fall, actually, a year ago at the college that I went to, about an hour and a half away from here, but they didn't have enough people sign up. So their loss, I guess. Red Rider BBGun says 88 sats, one of the best non-hypey Bitcoin channels. Yeah, don't confuse no hype with not being bullish. Like, I mean, people can attest to this. I think if you've watched any of my shows, the whole underlying premise here is that we're always bullish, always be bullish, no matter what happens. That's the beauty about it. It could be anything in the world that happens. It's good for Bitcoin. Always bullish for Bitcoin, but there's no promises. There's no fast gains here. It's just like, it's logic. That's all it is. Alpha X Omega. I'm a YouTuber as well. I find my videos get more views without over the top thumbnails. Okay, there you go. That's kind of what I think too. People want authentic videos. That's why I do it live too. No script, no agenda today even. But I just think that, people like people. People don't like machines or robots or scripts. And, that's what really resonated with Trump for me, is that he was the first politician I ever heard that said what was on his mind instead of following his teleprompter. So I'm attracted to that. I know that there's a lot of people out there who are also attracted to that. And sometimes sometimes the live shows are a little bit slow, painful, I guess, but it's part of it. When you show up every day, it's hard to be shooting 1,000%. Oh, here comes a sneeze. Come on, give me one. Can feel it, and then I don't know if it's just because my body knows that I'm on the live on the internet and doesn't want to make a fool out of me, but I hate that. Blue balls with the nose. All right. So actually, we got a couple chats over in Zap.stream talking about books right now. And somebody on the show, or somebody on one of my clips, said, I finished the Bitcoin Standard. What other Bitcoin books do you recommend? And my answer to that was, if you've read the Bitcoin Standard, you're probably at the point where you understand money, history, and why Bitcoin is valuable in that sense. So what I would do from there, you kind of have a good grasp on it. I mean, you could read 10 more books, but you're probably going to come to the same conclusion, essentially. So I said, veer away from Bitcoin books a little bit, like read The Magic of Thinking Big, The Power of Now, Obstacle is the Way, Ego is the Enemy, Stillness is the Key, because they all kind of tie together. There's stoicism. You have to be thinking big. You have to be thinking differently than everyone else to actually have full conviction over Bitcoin. And so stoicism and having an open mind and really having a vision for the future. I think that those books are a really good supplement, without going further into trying to learn Bitcoin. I think the best way you learn Bitcoin, like I said, is by doing it. I don't know what else a book could teach you about Bitcoin after reading the Bitcoin Standard. So start learning about, managing your emotions and controlling your thoughts and emotions, because that's what you're going to need more than anything else. It's really easy to find ways to be and reasons to be bullish about Bitcoin, but at the same time, you have to manage when the world's going fucking crazy around you, you have to be the calm, and you have to have the conviction and manage your emotions and your mindset well enough that, you're going to be here for 20 years. And that's a mindset thing. That's not a technical thing. So I don't know where I was going with that or where that came from, but anyways, the sneeze is pissing me off. I did have some news though. Maybe let's try the Bitcoin well again. I get nervous doing this now because I hype it up so much. So we're just going to pretend that this isn't going to work. And if it does, great. And I would, I should message Adam and let him know, but I just really don't want to be bugging him. I could understand how busy that guy is. I don't want to be bugging him for some top up of my free Bitcoin. Through the captcha, we are human, so that's good. Oh, fuck. I pressed it again before. Okay, well, here it comes. I pressed it too early, so get your phones ready because this is going to come. It's on the screen already. We ready? 1, 2, 3. So there's your free 500 sats today, courtesy of the Bitcoin Well and the Bitcoin Journey. So there you have it, 500 sats. First person to grab that one today is our new champion, our sats champion. I better just make sure that somebody claims it before it goes to waste. And if you're new to the show here, we do this every single day when it works anyways. Okay, somebody claimed it. And if you want to take part in that, we usually do it around the 15, 20 minute mark of the show every day. But it fluctuates because some days I forget. But the way you do that is you have your Lightning address or your Lightning wallet up, you could use Wallet of Satoshi, Phoenix, Minibits, Mutiny. Does Mutiny still work? I don't know. But anyways, you just you press send, which is backwards. It seems like you press send, you scan it, and you get 500 free sats. Courtesy of the Bitcoin Well. So big shout out to Bitcoin Well. They are a Bitcoin exchange, pretty much. They're doing a lot of really good things, though. I've been hearing people have been having success with their Bitcoin ATMs, which are kind of scattered across the country here and into the US, I believe. And I think other parts of the world as well. But you can get an account there, bitcoinwell.com/Jor. You get 5 free tosses into the wishing well, which equates to free Bitcoin. So they got a very simple 1% spread. They take it straight out of your fiat into your cold storage. They don't hold any Bitcoin. And like I said, if you use that link, bitcoinwell.com/Jor, you get 5 free tosses. And you earn tosses from like buying Bitcoin, selling Bitcoin, doing their quizzes. They do different contests. They did one for the Stanley Cup. I think I won 5 free tosses for that. So if you're in Canada or in the US, definitely get yourself a Bitcoin Well account. All right, let's check out some news today. Did have a couple things that I want to talk about on the first edition of the fucking YouTube. Sorry, I've been swearing a lot today. Apologize for that. I apologize. But YouTube, like, I don't know. I just don't understand them. They demonetized my video yesterday for 13 seconds of that techno video that we watched with the Bitcoin chart. They demonetized it for 13 seconds of the song, the whole show. We just don't need that. We don't need that in life. That's why I love Zap.stream. So shout out to everybody on Zap.stream for being part of the movement here. It's frustrating. All right, this is a massive piece of news here, actually. If this is accurate, then I don't know. I say every day we're not bullish enough, but this is from Bitcoin News, another sponsor of the show. So big shout out to Bitcoin News. The world's third largest, let me say that again, the world's third largest pension fund by assets, South Korea's National Pension Service, bought $33.7 million worth of MicroStrategy stock in Q2. So this is becoming a trend right now. This is pretty fascinating to me. This is becoming a trend because we saw last week that there was a Swiss central bank and what was the other one? The Norwegian central bank. 2 central banks last week or this week, whatever it was. Their filings showed that they were holding a very big chunk of MicroStrategy, not the Bitcoin ETF, but MicroStrategy. So I think that that's very interesting. And it would suggest to me, like, the obvious, if you're like a pension manager in South Korea or a national banker in Switzerland, and if you just have like a basic concept of Bitcoin and you decide that you want to have some exposure to Bitcoin in your fund, the most obvious choice would be going to the ETF, BlackRock. To me, that would be the obvious no-brainer. If you don't understand what's going on here, that would be the choice. So to me, this suggests that the central bankers, the managers of this South Korean National Pension Service fund, they know what's going on here. So to me, I think that some of these people might actually understand Bitcoin a lot more than we think, because in order to choose MicroStrategy over BlackRock ETF, you have to have some sort of understanding of what's going on and why that would be more valuable to your fund as opposed to the ETF. Okay, sorry, I missed some chats here. Where's the dog? That's a good question. Everybody wants to see Arn. He's not there. Where's Arnie? Where the heck is he? He might show up. He usually does. Jason says simply having issues with the Bitcoin wall is what? 2. Well, that's good to know. Maybe they'll let Adam know because I don't feel like bugging him. Jor. 1 million sats. What is that for, Nate? 1 million sats. I don't know. Is that what we're trying to get to on the zaps today? 1 million sat zaps. That'd be there. Here comes Arnie. Let's wait for him. Roll out the red carpet. There he is. There's Arnie. Hey, buddy. Thanks for coming. There's our favorite guy. All right, what else we got here? Tough day for Arnie, sounds like. Let's do this one. This is a fun video. I like this one. I like watching these videos from other countries. Just because they're, I don't know. You can just tell. We watched one from, where was it last week? Oh, I don't know. A South American country, I think, or maybe even African. Regardless, it's just, you can tell that they haven't been around technology as long as we have, which is kind of shitty to say, but it's reality. You know, you see people from the US and China and even Russia who have had access to social media and technology for, you know, even if it's a decade longer, 5 years longer, like that's a big time in technology. So you can tell the difference between like the editing and production quality versus videos like this. But I love them. I think that they're it's awesome to see. So this is from Bitcoin News as well. This is sending a Bitcoin payment to his mom while working on a carrot farm in Kenya. So let's check this one out. This is pretty good. I'm going to put myself on mute and blow my nose here while we watch this, just to save everybody listening some sniffles.
Good morning from Kisii, Kenya. Today we are testing Tando app, and I'm gonna send mom cash from my wallet of Satoshi, and so.
Like, my favorite part about this video is he's doing this big fancy video here in Kenya, and his mom's just like working away. Does not have time to stop and entertain her son's little viral video here.
I'll just open my Tando app, Tando me, yeah. Send money. I'm gonna put my mother's phone. So next, I go to my wallet of Satoshi, send, paste, then send. Yeni bona ngo kwa scam ka to kolike rio ma ko tsa mango correct le video.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, there's a video. Yeah, you confirm the M-Pesa.
Igora. 100 from Intercent Solutions.
Intercent Solutions Limited.
These links from in it. How do you call it? Intercent Solutions Limited. Thank you so much.
I love that. I love that. Big shout out to whoever this guy is. I just love this kind of stuff. It's amazing to me that I just feel so bad for, you know, I guess Africa is not a country, but countries in Africa. and the people from Africa. They've just been shafted so hard by our monetary system for their whole lives. And it's good to see. You could see the joy on their faces when they're doing something like that. Like, he was pumped. His buddy was pumped. His mom was pumped. They've never had access to any of this stuff before. And, you know, it's not fair. And I'm not anybody who would ever advocate for like socialism or anything like that. But it is important that we all have a fair monetary system. And once you have a fair monetary system that everybody has access to, that's all you need. Fair, hard, fixed supply, and anybody can access it. They're working in a carrot farm in Kenya with cell phones, with a connection to the internet or data, and they're able to send Bitcoin that way. That's what it's all about, folks. That's exactly why we're here. Stuff like that. Haiti. Yes. Thank you, Plunger. That was, it was in Haiti last week or earlier this week. Haiti's also been absolutely obliterated by U.S. Monetary policies and the fiat dollar. Okay. And somebody says, hi, Arnie. I don't know who it is. I can't see their username. Hi, Arnie. He says hi back. All right, let's go to the next part. So we're going to talk about something, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of minutes on this because, frankly, it'll probably raise my blood pressure too much. But I want to show a couple of different things here of what's been happening with. I better not say what I want to say. With Kamala Harris. So let's watch this upstanding citizen here. First of all, we got look at this. Look at these two faces here. All right, we're gonna watch this. It's 39 seconds of Mark Cuban on the Crypto for Harris live stream. Mark Cuban, supporting crypto is not just about increasing the bags of elite Bitcoin maxis. Republicans just want to see the Bitcoin maxis get richer. Ooh, okay, there, Mark Cuban. Let's hear it.
Thanks, man.
Look at Amanda Wick. We're going to be talking about Amanda Wick here in just 1 sec. Ugh, yuck.
And I'll be quick. When Donald Trump spoke in Nashville at the conference and said that he was going to support crypto, he did us one of the biggest favors, because supporting crypto is not about increasing the bags of elite Bitcoin maxis. Crypto is not about the elite. It's about egalitarianism. It's about the opportunity, as Professor was saying, for the unbanked and others to participate and to have the opportunity to create wealth. That's such a huge opportunity for us, because the rest of us need crypto, and the Republicans couldn't care less. They just want to see the Bitcoin maxis get richer. So with that thought in mind, thanks, Amanda. I'll be quick. When Donald
What happened to Mark Cuban? What are you doing? Why are you on a Crypto for Harris live stream? He said when Donald Trump talked about crypto, he did us a favor. So you're on a Crypto for Harris live stream praising Donald Trump. And the guy's a billionaire. And what did he say there? What did he say there?
for the unbanked and others to participate and to have the opportunity to create wealth. That's such a huge opportunity for us, because the rest of us need crypto, and the Republicans couldn't care less.
A billionaire who owns an NBA team needs crypto? Like, he's grouping his viewers with him, a billionaire. Us, we need this. What? So that's what happened on. By the way, Kamala Harris did not even show up for this thing. It was a virtual live stream. Mark Cuban did. He must be hurting for attention or cash right now. Or very much blackmailed. I don't know what it is, but he showed up. But Kamala herself didn't show up for this live stream. Nice. What a joke she is. Okay, I need to rear back a bit here. Remember the last election, 2020, when Joe Biden had invite only or rallies or whatever they were, and there was like 20 people sitting in circles 10 feet apart from each other, and they wanted us to believe that he got 80 million votes when he did not come out of his basement the whole time for 3 months leading up to the election. Like, I know people are pretty dumb overall, and not dumb, but very much brainwashed by the propaganda that's just forced down our throats every day. But like, just use a single ounce of common sense and logic there. Just a single ounce. Joe Biden did not get 10% of votes. He probably didn't get 10 million votes. And I'm probably going to get, no, I'm not going to say it. I've learned my lesson here. But I meant to say 10 million votes in Pennsylvania. So the election itself, it seemed to be pretty fair and legitimate. And they're doing the exact same thing with Kamala Harris now. She doesn't talk to reporters. She doesn't show up to live streams for her own initiatives. She doesn't talk in public because, well, we know why she doesn't talk in public. But the thing that bothers me is that people are buying it. They're falling for it. So you're probably going to have people with monkeypox showing up for the Crypto for Harris, the next town hall meeting here. So let's take a little bit of a look at who is Amanda Wick, the organizer of Crypto for Harris. Let's take a look at here, Amanda Wick. I'm not going to say, okay, I'll say it. It's Friday. It's No Agenda Friday. We're going to say it. Is there anything less attractive than a middle-aged Caucasian liberal woman? I don't think that there is. I do not think that there's anything less attractive than that. So here's the face of that crew. Meet Amanda Wick, the co-organizer of Crypto for Harris campaign. And we can see her, this looks like it's from her LinkedIn. So I don't know if she's jobless right now, but there's nothing updated. Her last job was 2022. She worked as a senior investigative counsel for the U.S. House of Representatives. Before that, she was chief of legal affairs for Chainalysis, Inc. for a year. Then she was a senior policy advisor for the Department of the Treasury. Looks like while Trump was still in office, which is kind of weird, for 4 months. And the U.S. the DOJ for 3 years and 6 months. So this is who is heading the Crypto for Harris campaign, or the initiative. No, campaign, I guess. But I mean, just like, sorry, I don't mean to, criticize people, but honestly, Amanda Wick. So that's her. She's Chainalysis. She's chief of legal affairs for Chainalysis. That's her background. So you can tell what side she's on here. And if you're unfamiliar with Chainalysis, it's basically a big brother of the blockchain. They're trying to figure out which sats belong to who's sending to who. They use predictive modeling. I think it's not accurate at all. They just kind of use their best guess of where this probably went to. But it's not a good organization, and that's who is leading this. And I think that she would never win in a real world. But, who knows what happens? Who knows what's going to happen here? If she ends up being part of the next government with whoever the Democrats put in there, it's going to be bad for Bitcoiners. It's going to be very bad for Bitcoiners in the US, and that's going to trickle down into the rest of the world. So, I know people within Bitcoin like to say that Bitcoin doesn't need politicians. Politicians need Bitcoin, and, voting is a waste of time. I like the phrase myself that voting is essentially the adult version of making a Christmas letter to Santa. Kind of is. But at the same time, like we have to take actual action in this kind of stuff. So if you are in the US and you don't feel like voting this year, I would say think on it, because even though they are going to try their best to try to change the actual results of it, the more people that vote, the harder it becomes for them, and the more obvious. And I mean, even in that, like the last election was so blatantly obvious, and nothing has changed. But I mean, here's the thing for me. What's the point of not voting? I get it. You want to make a point, but at the same time, it just gives them more runway to try to push this narrative forward. So I'm not going to tell you what to do, obviously, but I do think that to avoid things like this, to avoid the Kamala Harris's, the Amanda Wicks, of ever having a sniff of having a say in what happens in our society, I don't know. Just my opinion there. You can take it or leave it. Just like everything else in the show. That's the beauty of the internet. If you don't like what I'm saying, you can simply just scroll on your phone to a different show. But we'd prefer to have you here. All right, so this is Cynthia Liss. This is another post that I wanted to share today. Just I love her, and I wanted to just highlight her because she is one of the good ones, I think. And this is what she had to say on Amanda Wick and the Harris campaign. Anti-Bitcoin, anti-crypto, anti-digital assets, but probably pro-CBDC. This is what a Harris administration looks like, and no amount of Zoom calls will change the reality. It's absolutely true. Basically what she's saying is, don't listen to what they're saying. Look at what they're actually doing. And she's absolutely right. And unfortunately, as we've been talking about here, people are very gullible and very brainwashed. So that's kind of where we are right now in the world. So shout out to Cynthia Liss. I don't know how to say it, but she's doing really good things for Bitcoin. All right, so this is the last thing we're going to watch, and try not to sneeze here. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to watch this video, and then because this is No Agenda Fridays, if you have anything to discuss, if you have any questions or anything, toss them in the chat now. You can put them in caps if you really want me to see them. But that's what we're going to do. So we're going to watch this video. We're going to talk about it a little bit. I don't know where he's going. But and then we'll see what happens here. No agenda, no time frame. We're just having some fun here. So this is from 53 years ago. So what happened? And I wasn't aware of this. I didn't know that this was the date yesterday, or else I probably would have mentioned it on the show. But it says 53 years ago today, President Nixon interrupted the popular TV show Bonanza to announce the suspension of the dollar's convertibility to gold. Since then, the U.S. has shifted from the world's largest creditor to its largest debtor. So let's check this out.
In August of 1971, President Nixon interrupted the popular primetime television series Bonanza to announce that the U.S. dollar would no longer be redeemable for gold.
We must protect the position of the American dollar as a pillar of monetary stability around the world. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States.
Nixon ended the gold standard to prevent a run on Fort Knox, which contained only a third of the gold bullion necessary to cover the amount of dollars held in foreign reserves. His action of uncoupling the two allowed for the U.S. dollar to exist freely, unbound by the fixed amount of gold in the world. But it also implies a fundamental difference in fiat and gold, how they function and behave over time. Two graphs help to tell the story. Because of gold's fixed supply, its purchasing power is highly volatile in the short term, making it a poor choice as a medium of exchange. But when zoomed out, we see it actually maintains its purchasing power over the long run, establishing gold as a good long-term store of value. On the other hand, fiat money can adjust its supply to create near-term stability. This allows it to function as a medium of exchange. A loaf of bread today costs $2.50. Will cost $2.50 tomorrow and likely into next week. But the very mechanism that creates near-term stability also dilutes the value of fiat in the long term. A loaf of bread 80 years ago cost 9 cents. Today, it costs $2.50. Fiat loses its purchasing power over time and therefore can't be used as a long-term store of value or unit of account. Side by side, zoomed in and out, these two graphs reveal both the advantages and shortcomings of fiat and gold. Neither represents an ideal money. When Nixon ended the gold standard in 1971, there was no way he or his administration could have predicted the development of government-independent currencies. This is an unprecedented time, one in which the world is willing to experiment with both the creation and adoption of new monies.
(1971), the year the world changed forever. Well, not forever, but till now. And so I'm going to look at this website here. I talked about this probably on one of the first shows that we ever did on the Daily Bitcoin Journey, but it's definitely worth bringing up again, especially on the anniversary of the US going off the gold standard. So this website here is called WTF Happened in 1971. And it just shows a bunch of different charts of over time and how everything has changed since 1971. So I'm going to find a few of them that I wanted to pay attention to here. There's a ton of them. I mean, they all come to the same conclusion. So, by the way, if anybody can find a loaf of bread for $2.50 here, let me know. I think they're about $6 here in Canada right now. And I don't know if that's limited to this within these borders, but 9 cents back in the day before when we had real money. So this is a unit per can of Campbell's condensed tomato soup at discounted sale pricing, January 1898 to July 2021. So you can see that it remains pretty stable for 1900. 1915, that's when they printed some money after the Federal Reserve began. And then all the way up until like 1971, right here, 1975, is when it went from 10 cents to 20 cents to 50 cents 20 years later, and then to $1 in 2021. So 10x, can of soup. There's inflation. You can see the arrow right there. There's the CPI. 1971 right there. Let's find another one here. This kind of ties into, there's the real house prices. You can see shot up there, 1971. But there's some other ones that I wanted to show here. Sorry if you just close your eyes if you're trying to follow this right now. Where's all the food ones and stuff like that? Well, there's a national debt. It looks like it went up a little bit. Holy fuck. That's only when it was 23 million too. Where we would be up here. That's crazy. So this was how much debt we had in 1970. Is this right? Less $500 billion. So this chart here, you can see this is the debt, U.S. federal debt in trillions. And it stops at the top here. I have to scroll up to get to 23. And so if we went up to, it would be 2 pages worth of debt that's been added on since 1970. That's absolutely insane. Where's the other ones here that I wanted to talk about? Like there's so many examples here. This is, proving my point here a little bit. But there's like crime and marriage and stuff. Where are they? Maybe they've updated this a little bit. Here, I'm going to take this off just so you don't have to watch that. I hate watching things like that on screen. Hurts my eyes even here. Where's all this stuff? Divorce rate off. Divorce rates here by age, you can see 1970 was all kind of going up slowly, but then it just skyrocketed. And I mean, think about your life. You know, is your relationship easier or harder when you're struggling financially? Definitely harder. I don't think anybody would ever disagree with that one. There's the poverty, child poverty as well. Child per woman. This is a scary one. You can see look at this. 19. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit here so we can see it. This is children per woman. So back in 1970, the average woman had 5 kids, and it dipped a little bit. It came back up, and then from 1970 right there, dropped down. And I bet it's much less than this. This is 2015. I bet it's like down here now, which makes sense, right? I mean, if you can't afford to have kids, if you can't afford to feed yourself, do you really think it's a good idea to be bringing kids into the world? And that's what's happened ever since the fiat dollar was created. Growth of physicians, the demand for doctors just shot up from 0% to 2,500% in 2009. So what does more doctors tell you? When you need more doctors, when there's a demand for physicians, that means that the population is very unhealthy. Global production of vegetable oil. Look at that. Why do they make vegetable oil? Because it's cheap. It's horrible for you. If you have some time, check out some seed oil documentaries. And I've really cut back on my seed oils, but this is why they use it. Canola, soybean, sunflower, peanut. 1970, because it's cheap to make. Doesn't matter if it kills people, makes them very unhealthy. It's cheap to make. And when they're trying to hide inflation, when they're trying to keep the prices of everything down, they find the cheapest inputs. So they don't have to raise the price. They can just reduce the quality of it and reduce the size of it. Meat consumption. This one's very interesting too. Look at this. You had chicken here, which was the meat that the least amount of people consumed back in the 1919s, 1934, even 1960. Chicken was at the bottom here. And then 1970, look what happened. Everybody started eating chicken because it's cheap. Fiat, very fiat. Beef went down. People can't afford to eat beef. Oh, I thought there was more. There was a crime one too. Maybe I passed over it, but you get the idea. And that's a great resource to keep in your bookmarks. WTF happened in 1971. And like I said at the start of the show, I think that it's very important for people to understand the implications of a fiat dollar and the implications of a small group of people having the ability to create new money and add debt to the balance sheet. This is what happens. And once you wrap your head around that, that's when you can start looking into Bitcoin and trying to figure out what's the solution to this. You know, based on the conversations I've had over the last couple of months between friends, people I consult with, family, just random people, everybody knows what's happening right now. Everybody can feel it. And it's a shame because you go to the grocery store, you go to the gas station, anywhere that you're spending money, there's always people in line or always people having conversations about how expensive everything is. So people are feeling it now. We're at that stage where people are feeling it. The next thing that happens here, hopefully, is that they're going to understand that there is a solution for this. There is a way out of this, and it's Bitcoin. And it's our job. It's my job, I feel. That's why we're here this morning, to tell that to people when they're ready, once they've experienced all of this that's happened since 1971, that's when they're ready to start buying Bitcoin, learning about Bitcoin, and having the conviction about Bitcoin and changing everything. And the reason I called the show Bitcoin will benefit everybody today, and I'm sure if you're watching this, it's changed to No Agenda Fridays, but the original title of the show was Bitcoin will benefit everybody. Because if you think about this, like Nixon interrupted the Bonanza show there, Everybody saw what he was saying. But I don't think that 95 to 98% of people understood what the hell that meant. They probably thought it was a good thing because they don't have to pay attention to other countries anymore. They can just do whatever they want. It's a great thing. And people didn't understand the implications of the fiat dollar. Still today, 53 years later, people don't understand what happened there and how it impacted where we are today as a society. So I think that we're going to go through the exact same thing here. So back in 1971, Nixon announced that. Nobody had a clue what happened or what it meant. But slowly over time, over the next 53 years, we've deteriorated to this point where we are today. And I think the exact same thing is going to happen, flipped on its head, where Trump comes out and he announces that Bitcoin is going to be held as a strategic reserve asset on the balance sheet. Nobody's going to know what that means or the implications of that, but they're going to see for the next 50, 100, 500 years, they're going to see their life improve, every aspect of it. Just like they saw, our parents saw, and we saw our lives slowly deteriorate without even knowing what the heck happened. I think we're going the other way. That's why Bitcoin will benefit everybody here in Kenya, in Haiti. This is a global phenomenon, though. It's not just limited to the US. That one had implications of everybody else, but this one is actually a global monetary. It's a currency, it's an investment, it's a unit of measurement, it's everything. It's the standard, and we're going there. And no, the majority of people will not understand the blockchain, layer one, proof of work. Nobody knows who Satoshi is, but they're just going to slowly see their lives get better and better and better. It's going to take some time, obviously. It took 53 years for us to get from there to where we are today. So just consider that. Everything with a very long time frame. It's going to happen. Bitcoin is going to benefit everybody, whether they know that it's Bitcoin doing it or not. When you have a scarce asset with a fixed supply that you can measure everything, the growth of your country, your productivity, when you can measure everything, the energy costs, when you have one unit of account, one unit of measurement that's fixed and verifiable by everybody on earth, that changes the fucking world for the better. Goodbye. Sorry, I went on a bit of a tangent there. Yeah, Cold Deck here, he says, temporarily suspend the gold standard. Temporary. Everything's temporary in the government. Just like the temporary surveillance things that they put in during COVID. Temporary. It's for your own good. I've showed these charts to friends and family. There's cognitive dissonance. Yeah, absolutely. That's a tough part. Is that until they feel it, which they finally are starting to feel it, they're not going to give a shit. Why would they? They got more important things to do. All right, let's check out some chats here, and then we'll call it a day. Matt says, what's your day job? I'm a full-time NOSTR influencer. No, I don't have a day job, man. I left my day job back in 2021. I wouldn't say the best day of my life, but it changed my life for sure. It changed the direction of my life. I ended up here in a very small town, moved out of the city after 15 years there, left my job, and we got our King Golf company, which keeps me pretty busy. We make custom head covers. So if you got any golf fans in your life, one way to support the show is actually send them to, oh, it's upside down. Can't do it the other way. Break my arm. Pretty snazzy. All of these are made right here in Manitoba. Believe it or not, with genuine leather. Some cow, some sheep, some deer, some buffalo. It's all locally sourced leather, and they're all made by hand here in Manitoba. So one of the things I'm struggling with right now is our costs have gone up substantially through the years, and we haven't really raised our prices too much. I don't know why. It's just we're a small company, lots of support from local and friends, and but at the same time, we're actually selling these head covers all over the world now. Every time I check no, I shouldn't say every time, but every couple of days, there's an order from the US, from Australia. That's kind of it, actually. I shouldn't say all over the world, but lots from the US. Makes sense too, because like we sell these head covers for like $120 Canadian, which is like less than $100 American. And if you look at probably our number one competitor, they're also in Canada, and they sell some of their head covers for like $400, $500, $1,000. So we're kind of like that's our sweet spot. We do not, they've been around for about 7 years longer than us, so they have more, time in the industry. But I would hold these up against their stuff any day, honestly. So that's one way. If you're a golfer, you have some golf fans in your network, consider looking at kinggolf.ca, kinggolf.ca. And our hats are second to none. These are the hats I wear every day on the show. They fit perfectly. They're very comfortable, and they got a nice design too. So I think there's actually a discount code for people who watch on YouTube. I'm just going to double check that while we're talking about it. So that's what I do. I don't talk about it a whole lot on the show here, but I actually just met with somebody yesterday. It's usually every couple weeks, depending on where we're at in the cycle. But I do like Bitcoin consulting with people, whether they're just the big one for me is the strategy. That's kind of what I focus on, is getting a strategy down on paper, following it. If you want real technical stuff, there's a lot of information out there, but the real value that I add to people is the strategy part. So taking a look at where you are, where you want to go to, and figuring out the best way to do that. And that involves, your KYC, your non-KYC, your UTXOs, your Lightning wallets, your inheritance stuff. This is all, it's very easy to buy Bitcoin, but the hard part is managing that strategy. So I'm actually going to have a tier, and I should have set it up today, just talking about this here. But I'm going to have a tier within the Patreon here, where if that's interesting to you, if you're somebody who's just like buying Bitcoin and not necessarily thinking about the longer term implications of everything, the taxes even, then what I want to do is have like a monthly rate. We'll be able to meet once a month. You can set up a 15, 20, 30-minute call. The first one will be a little bit longer because we'll figure out, your whole strategy there. But then we'll meet once a month. We'll just have a one-on-one call and just make sure that everything is okay. You're on track. And whether that lasts 6 months, a year, however long. But that's also what I do on a day-to-day basis. And of course, the show, you wouldn't believe how much brain capacity the show takes up every day for me. Well, sorry, I'm a little bit behind here. Hey, Chris and James Bond, some of our OGs in the chat this morning. Chris, that fellow has better service than Bell gives me here in Ottawa Valley. No doubt. I don't have cell phone service at this house either. I'm connected to Wi-Fi, but there's no towers that give it to us here. This is a great point from Alpha X Omega. Whoopi Goldberg is less attractive than a middle-aged white liberal woman. That's true. She looks like a monster. Hey, look at this. JJ. Jor, what's up from Texas? Thanks for your content. Thanks for watching, my friend. Thank you. I've been getting a lot of pretty good feedback on the show. We talked about it for a while at the start of every show, our daily block reward, but we haven't for a while. It's good to see, though. It's good to see that people are getting some value out of the show. So if that sounds like you, if you are somebody who wants to support the show, there's a couple ways to do it. You can head over to zap.stream and send a zap there. You can scan this little QR code at the top of the video here on the right here. Well, that's pretty good. That's for Arnie. That's our rescue dogs. That's his wallet. He's got like 40,000 sats in there from people. Or you can join as a member on the channel here. You can join the channel for $3 a month. Good way to support the show. We do our weekly private Q&As every Wednesday, which are including the Bitcoin Journeyman. And you get the full show interrupted. Today's show, we were a little bit late, so I didn't have time to send out the links and everything. So I'm just going to do the full show on YouTube today. But most days we cut it in half and we do the first part on YouTube, second part, the private for the journeyman and the living the future tier. So if you have been getting some value from the show and you feel like giving a little bit back, those are some ways that you can do it. Al Joe McFly says, I could see that Trump would be beneficial to Bitcoin. What is the alternative? Yeah, exactly. And don't give me the, I don't want to vote to strengthen their system. Like, we're still at a time now where this stuff matters. And I know they're going to do their best to try to change the results in any way that they can. But the more people who vote, the harder it's going to be for them. Diego, Bitcoin. It's a good comment. Probably from behind. We got Bodie here. Good morning, visionaries. Windshield time. Stack silently and with humility. Great advice. Burner Mike over in Zapstream says Whoopi needs popped. Yeah, she needs something. This is the sickening part of the whole thing to me too, the fiat system. Bitcoin Boomer says removing the US dollar from the gold standard funded the Vietnam War and ensured that thousands of young men came home in body bags and has funded every war since. Fiat. 100%. 100%. It's sickening. Sickening what happens within our governments, within our central banks. And I mean, if you look at the overlying purpose of Bitcoin, what it was designed to do, it's going to touch every part of our lives. Individually, every business, every industry is going to be impacted by Bitcoin. But if you look at the fundamental reason why we need Bitcoin, it's to separate money from state. That's it. That's what it was designed to do. We're going to build of it what we want to, what we're able to do with our own abilities and imagination with Bitcoin. But that's the sole purpose of why Bitcoin was created, was to separate money from state. And when you separate money from state and you take that ability for them to print money to fund wars, just think about that. If governments had a fixed currency that they had to go off of and they couldn't just print money, they actually had to have gold in their vaults. The new version of that is Bitcoin in the wallet. If they actually need that to create new currency to fund a war, do you think that they're going to do that? Do you think that they're going to go out and spend some of their Bitcoin on these absolutely useless wars? Endless and useless wars. Do you think the governments are going to do that? It wouldn't last very long. And what happens when they run out of Bitcoin? Their country just collapses. That's how it should be. That's how the world should be. If you go out and spend all of your money and you go $35 trillion into debt, your country should collapse. You can't just create more of it. It doesn't make any sense logically. So I do believe it's going to benefit everybody. It's going to help people within Kenya and Haiti who were previously completely locked out of the global economy and the banks. It's going to give them access to that. It's going to stop the wars that have been going on for decades and for centuries even. When you have the ability to create money and fund a war, that's what happens. And the whole reason for wars, print more money. Give 10% to the weaponry, 10% to the military fund, 80% back into the foundations of the politicians. It's disgusting. Disgusting. Alpha Omega says, would you consider doing an interview with Rajat Soni? He quit his job in finance and became a Bitcoin maxi. You and him share the same points. He's also a Canadian YouTuber. We got some great Canadian YouTubers here. I'm not saying that I am. I got a long ways to go. But we do have a lot of great Canadian YouTubers. I mean, I'd have a conversation with anybody, anytime. It's what we need more of, is conversation, debates. I mean, it sounds like me and him would share a lot of similar ideas, so I don't know how beneficial it would be to people listening. But yeah, I'd be interested for sure. Leave a comment. Go into his, who was that? Alpha. Go into his YouTube comments and say, have a chat with Jor. 88 Sats channel. Actually, somebody did that with, who was it? He was a well-known Bitcoiner. Somebody left a comment saying you gotta have Jor on from 88 Sats, and he reached out to me. I think his name was Rick. No, I don't know. Anyways, I didn't set it up. I just have too much stuff going on right now. 5 kids on average. Yeah, no doubt. That's how it should be, though. The difference between growing up in a house with 5 kids to 1 kid or 0 kids, like, it's different as a kid too. I know some only childs out there, and I wouldn't say they're weirdos, but they're a lot different when you don't have a couple friends brothers and sisters to fight with and argue with and compete with. That's a big thing. That's why younger brothers are always better at sports, including my younger brother. He is very good at golf, hockey, and everything because he was always competing against his older brother. And so his standard is, his compete level was higher, his skill was higher. But that's just, I think that's a microcosm of everything when you have kids, is that having brothers and sisters makes you better. Look at this comment. Throwaway 57. Hello, Joe. I really enjoy your takes on life. Keep it up. Would love to see you on NOSTR if you aren't already. Ooh, I'm on NOSTR. I've been on NOSTR. I think I've been on there for a year and a half now. I love NOSTR. Thank God for NOSTR. It's pretty much the only place I spend my time nowadays online. I go on Twitter once in a while to get some news and shit talk people a little bit when I have the desire to do so. But I try not to because it just raises my blood pressure too much. I haven't been on my personal Twitter account for 2 months now. LinkedIn, probably 4 months. So I'm on a good trend right now. Throwaway 57. If you want to follow me on NOSTR, if you use something like Primal, you could just search Jor, or in my show notes here, you can find my NPub. I post a lot on NOSTR actually. HFLM. Whoopi would fit perfectly on the original Star Wars canteen scenes. I'm not a Star Wars guy, but I think I know exactly who you're talking about there and what you're talking about. All right. Should we end it? What do we got for time here? 9:30. I don't know. Should we keep hanging out? There's no agenda here. Maybe let's watch. Let's end with this video. This kind of ties into everything we've been talking about today, and we didn't get to watch it yesterday. So maybe we'll end the show with this today. Just some good info mostly. This is another good one from River. So River, that graphic earlier in the week about the U.S.'s strategic reserves through the years. So they were holding helium as a strategic reserve. Then they were holding cheese, 1.5 billion pounds worth of cheese on their strategic reserve. And then they were holding, obviously, the petroleum for the petrodollar. So this is a really informative clip here from River. So let's watch this to end the show today. Because it didn't really fit into anything we were talking about yesterday.
What does it mean for the United States to have a strategic Bitcoin reserve? How would this impact the financial position of the country? And how would it affect Bitcoin? Let's take a step back and explain what a strategic reserve is and why Bitcoin is an interesting reserve asset. A strategic reserve is when a government or business stockpiles specific materials to help when unexpected events arise. Examples of strategic reserves are food, water, oil, metals, minerals, medication, and now Bitcoin.
Is food really a strategic reserve, though? I mean, I know they use cheese, but I feel like food is not a great thing to be storing as a strategic reserve for a long period of time, right? Because obviously we know that food goes bad over time. So I don't know if that's short term maybe, but
if a government holds onto a surplus in food and water, it can help the population in times of natural disasters or war. So why would a government want to hold Bitcoin? What strategic benefits could be gained from that? Let's take the example of the United States to explain. The U.S. national debt is over $35 trillion today. Last year, over $1 trillion in taxpayer money went towards paying off just the interest on this debt. Anything that can help the U.S. pay off its debt strengthens the financial position of the country. One way to strengthen your position is by holding assets that increase in value over time. If this happens faster than new money is being printed, then it could help a country pay off a larger amount of debt in the future. The orange line represents how Bitcoin has grown by an average of over 60% per year for the past 10 years. Bitcoin's value grows so fast because it has a limited supply of 21 million, making it more scarce than gold, currencies, and other stores of value.
I love this chart here. Look at this supply. So after every halving epoch, you can see that it kind of gets the angles less sharp. But this is where we are right now, pretty much 2025, which is wild to say. But look at the new supply coming for the next, and it'll stay flat for the next 100 years. That's what we got to look forward here. We only got 6% of the Bitcoin left to be mined.
Currencies, and other stores of value. This supply can't be changed. You would have to convince the vast majority of the network participants that the Bitcoin they hold will become worth less, and they won't agree to that. Many people have tried to create copies of Bitcoin, but these never got close to having the same network effects. One country that already has a strategic Bitcoin reserve is El Salvador. It holds around 5,800 Bitcoin, worth around $340 million, and has made a profit of 38%, or around $50 million so far. The United States already owns 213,246 Bitcoin today.
213,246 Bitcoin that they stole.
More than any other country by confiscating it from the Silk Road marketplace and funds stolen from the exchange Bitfinex. If the US could obtain 5% of all the Bitcoin supply, for example, this could help to pay off a significant portion of the national debt. If more countries create a strategic Bitcoin reserve, the price is impacted more. So being among the first countries to adopt it can be a great strategic move to increase your wealth relative to other countries. It forces all countries to consider this decision or risk being left behind. Bitcoin and all of its individual holders also benefit from this adoption, as owning and using it will keep getting easier over time. It can be additional debt.
Let's
if
see how
more
many
countries
Bitcoins
create
that,
a strategic
Canada has.
Bitcoin reserve, the price is impacted more. So being among the first countries to adopt.
So wherever that is, it's actually a deadly flag. They got 621, and they showed up on the radar here. So
Adopt it can be a great
how many does
strategic
Canada
move
have?
to increase your wealth relative to other countries. It forces all countries to consider this decision or risk being left behind. Bitcoin and all of its individual holders also benefit from this adoption.
All right, so this is after seeing that. Oh, AD says that's a kingdom of Bhutan. Interesting. So after seeing that, somebody left a comment on my YouTube channel saying you shouldn't be talking like this without a disclaimer saying this is not financial advice. And I said, well, actually it is financial advice. So why would I put the disclaimer on there? And it's the exact same thing I'm going to say right now. If you're in Canada, Canada has 0 Bitcoin. Canada has 0 gold in the vault, sold it all to China. So if you're planning to store your wealth in something, I would strongly consider looking outside of Canada. Do not be holding Canadian dollars right now. They're losing value by the second here. And I think Canadians would be a perfect, if you're a Canadian, I mean, this is relevant to anybody, but consider making the shift towards a Bitcoin standard. And what I mean by that is at the start of every month, if you got 2,500 of expenses that you're going to be like, not your rent, not your mortgage, but like the things that you can pay for with your phone, figure out what those expenses are on the first day of every month, put that into Bitcoin. No, sorry, that's not my advice. Cancel that. Take half of it. So let's say your expenses that you pay with your credit card every month are $3,000. Take half of it and hold it in Bitcoin. Take the other half, leave it in cash. And so I would say actually physical cash. That's what I would recommend, but either one works, fiat. And so whenever you go to spend something, so let's say you need to go, you're filling up your tank with gas. You look at the Bitcoin price on the first day of the month, August 1st. And if it's higher than it was then, if it's higher today than it was then you sell some Bitcoin, spend some Bitcoin. You're not selling it, you're spending it. If it's lower, if the price drops since August 1st, then you use your fiat. And I mean, if the price continues to go down for the whole month, then, I mean, just use fiat the whole time and just keep that Bitcoin for next month. But strongly consider that, because you'll notice that some months you're actually going to create a huge amount of purchasing power for yourself. So even though the prices of everything are skyrocketing, if you pretty much lock in Bitcoin at the start of every month, it's going to actually get cheaper for you. Depending on the month to month, everything changes. But especially where we are in the Bitcoin cycle right now, probably for the next 12 or 16 months, I think that's a perfect strategy for hedging yourself against a currency that's losing value by the minute. So as AD says there, it's not financial advice, it's life advice. It's just logical. That's it. Oh, AD says that the Kingdom of Bhutan has been secretly mining Bitcoin for a long time now. There it is. It's like clockwork. Bridge is coming to shut it off. I probably could have kept the door open. Folsom Hoddle. Good morning. Good to see you. I don't think I've seen you for a while in here. And Aljo McFly says, strategic store of value in water is not in terms of long-term values, but purely survival. So the outlook on these should be survival and value holder. Some tick both. Yeah, that's true. So some would be like a short-term survival versus a value holder like gold would have been or Bitcoin is now. So yeah. And as you mentioned here, some tick both boxes. And one of those things would be Bitcoin. All right. Well, I think that's it for today. We made quite a bit of, so it was a good show today. What the heck's Nate saying here? National debt looks like Palm Germania. I don't know who that is or what that is. I don't know. Okay. Well, let's get the heck out of here. This has been the first edition of No Agenda Friday. So thanks everybody for showing up here in the Zap.stream stream and in the YouTubes. Appreciate everybody. It makes the show a lot more enjoyable. And when you can talk for an hour and a half without a script or an agenda, then we're doing pretty good here. So thank you for being here today. As I mentioned, if you want to support the show, you can send to here, Arnie's wallet. You can join as a Bitcoin journeyman and you get some benefit out of that as well. Or you can send a zap over on zap.stream. And if you're looking for, I talked about the consulting part of things, developing a Bitcoin strategy, having somebody there to keep you accountable. If that's something that's interesting to you, it's going to be very, very reasonably priced. It's going to be about 50 to 60% off of like the normal rates that I charge, but it's going to be monthly. And that's kind of the reason I want to do that way. But if you're interested, if that's something that you're into, just shoot me an email and you'll be in like the pilot group of this. I'm probably going to start it either this weekend or next week. But if you're interested in that and you want more information on it, then just shoot me an email. All my info here in the show notes. Got my email, my NPub, the website. If you want to get a hold of me, you definitely can. Folsom, this is a good comment here. Just bought another cold wallet today. I try not to have too much in one wallet. So this is actually a conversation I had yesterday with a guy. He was asking me if I wanted to, and he might be watching the show today, but he was asking me if he should be buying 2 cold cards for each of his stacks, like non-KYC and KYC. And I said, within every cold card, you can actually just spin up like, I think it's 9,999 new wallets out of that one cold card. So the cold card essentially just acts as like your signing device. Without the device, you can't actually move any Bitcoin out of it. So you have to physically have your cold card there. You have to type in your code. You have to sign the transaction. You have to load it onto your Sparrow wallet. And that's how the Bitcoin is sent. So correct me if I'm wrong here, but I just don't think that there's a reason to hold more than one wallet or one device, I should say. Numerous wallets are highly recommended. You never want to have your full Bitcoin stack in one single wallet, especially if you have some non-KYC Bitcoin. You want to keep that completely separate. But I don't think that you need a separate device for that. I think you can spin up to 10,000 wallets within one single cold card. So every time you generate a new wallet, you got 12 or 24 brand new, fresh wallet in there. I don't think that you need a separate device for that. The device is just to sign it. So, I mean, I guess if you want to spread yourself out and limit your ability for somebody to find one device and make you sign into that, I guess it makes sense. But at the same time, I think that you're probably more than okay with one device with multiple wallets generated from that cold card. So you can spin up, like I said, 10,000 different wallets within one device, and you can connect those to wherever. Sparrow wallet, you can open it up in your Phoenix wallet. It just generates the words of the wallet, and then you decide when to send Bitcoin to it and how much to send, right? And yes, this is a good point over here. If you want a multi-signature setup, you need at least 2 hardware wallets. I would say 3. A 2 hardware wallet multi-signature, I don't think would be advisable. It'd be a lot of risk there. Go to 2 of 3 at least, and don't rush into it either, because it's not complicated. But when you're first getting into Bitcoin, and if you don't have like a huge stack yet, just start very slow. Start with a single signature cold card, upgrade to a passphrase, 25 words, and then eventually over time go into a multi-signature. The problem with that though is you actually have to have people that you can trust who are in different geographical locations for a multi-signature to make sense. And I don't think that a whole lot of people have that. But it's coming. We're going to have some really good options for people this fall in terms of keeping your Bitcoin safe within a multi-signature using encryption and the super backed wallet. So we're going to have more information on that as well. So end of the day, yeah, I mean, if your stack is big, I highly recommend multi-signature 100%. The nice thing about multi-signature is that it reduces your single point of failure. And, but I still think that if you're somebody who's still, even if you had a big stack and you're not overly familiar with it and you're not willing to pay somebody to help you with it, I would just lean towards like a single signature with a passphrase, which is a beautiful thing. And you can use that as a decoy wallet. So if somebody were to break into your house, you have your original wallet, your 24-word wallet there that was generated, and they're holding you at gunpoint. They make you send all the Bitcoin in the wallet. You put like 5% of your Bitcoin into the decoy wallet, and little do they know you have a passphrase somewhere else, or hopefully not in your head, but somewhere else. And hidden behind that passphrase is a brand new 25-word wallet, and that's where your stack is. So these are the kind of things, and this is where, I would add value to people who are kind of newer to Bitcoin, because that stuff's very important. Imagine somebody broke into your house and you had a decoy wallet set up, and they drained your wallet, which they thought was your whole stack of Bitcoin. But little do they know you had 95% hidden behind this passphrase, this decoy wallet. All things to consider here. That's what it's Noah there. Sorry, Noah. It's not showing your name on here. It just says NPub. So yeah, Noah's, I'm going to reach out to Noah here. So Noah, if you're still watching, I think you are, but I'm going to be reaching out to you in the next couple of days for collaborate on a few things. So anyways, let's call it a day here. We had a good day. We almost didn't do the show today, but it actually ended up being a really good show today. So the first edition, first of many now, No Agenda Fridays. Thank you for being here. Thanks everybody for the zaps, for Fat Zap Friday. We didn't hit our record today, but that's okay. I appreciate everybody who did send in some zaps today. We got Letha, Daniel, Cold Deck, Plunger, Sunshine, and Philip D. McCombs. Thank you, ladies and gents. Very much appreciated. Have yourselves an amazing weekend. And thanks for being here. That's it. I don't think I say that enough to people. Not for being in my show, but just being here and taking the time and the responsibility. Because I know that you're not doing it for yourself. you're doing it for something much bigger, whether that's your family down the road, your kids, your country, your community. I know that you're doing it for something much bigger than yourself. And so I applaud you for that. We're not chasing quick returns here or, overnight fame, success. This is a long-term thing. It's a long-term game, and you're putting in the work, showing up here and making the show what it has become. So I appreciate that, and appreciate you doing what you've been doing. So have a great Friday. We'll see you right back here first thing on Monday morning. Bye-bye.